The best thing you can possibly do for your career is also one of the most easiest things that you can do, which is spend the time to learn something. My name is Chad Sanderson. I like being able to solve big problems. A big weakness that people have is the fear of doing something. They think they're going to be bad at it, or they know they're going to be bad at it, and so they don't start. If you know you're bad, the only place to go is up, right? I've had a pretty interesting journey. I started as a writer, as a journalist. I discovered that I had a passion and kind of a skill for digital analytics. I knew that I needed to differentiate myself in that field, especially as someone that was a relative beginner. And I discovered that experimentation analytics was something that was growing, it was booming. Everybody was starting to A/B test, but very few people knew how. And it's hard to be able to solve big problems in the experimental analytics space unless you're still growing. You need to be able to stay on top of that curve, that learning curve. It's a situation of you don't know what's out there unless you've done the research and you've done the learning to keep growing and developing. Beginners who come into this space shouldn't just have a marketing background or a PPC background. You need to be an all-rounder. A big moment when my career kind of exploded and took off is when I started to actually share a lot of the knowledge that I've accumulated. A lot of times you have brilliant technical people who stay kind of insulated from the rest of the world, and they learn things every now and then, but they don't share out, they don't tell people who they are or what they know. Because of that, the rest of the world doesn't really see them, right? The people that you see are the ones that you acknowledge as being an expert. The great thing about this community is that there's a lot of very experienced people who are willing to share their knowledge. So many jobs I've seen are only the techniques in those jobs and the skills can only be learned once you actually get into them and you start doing the day-to-day work. Whereas in the analytics world and in the optimization world, there's been a great culture of sharing where people can get all these really good experiences and unique experiences before they ever step foot in any job. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon, right? We're gonna be working, hopefully, for a pretty large portion of our lives. So if we're in the workforce for 10 years or 20 years and every day we're still continuing to put in 30 minutes or an hour worth of work, by the time we get to our midway point, the knowledge that we have is just going to be incredible.